Hi friends, Mindy here. Welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be working on finishing this journal that I started quite a while ago. I had this journal, I've made the cover from some vintage fabric. It's just a small little journal. It measures roughly 4 by 6. It's just a fun little size. I used printables from the Junk Journal Studio. This is her collection that's called All Things Roses. It's just a beautiful collection. I have some coffee dyed paper in here as well. And I started working on this just a long time ago, and I had it in a little project bin, and it got shuffled around and lost in the recesses of my craft room. And as I was cleaning and organizing recently, I came across it, and I want to get this journal finished. So I'm using her printables. I'm going to be probably creating some pockets and tags and journaling spots and different things, adding some lace and whatever just strikes my fancy. I don't know that I'll get it done today, but I thought I would just take you along for the process here. Mostly I will probably be creating like tags and journaling cards for this first section and some pockets. I have, like I said, I have her printables. I have some coffee dyed paper. I have some vintage book paper. This is some French rag paper that I just thought would be really good. The colors of the paper actually look really good with it, and then it's French, so it just, I don't know, it just felt like the right thing to add to this journal. So I'm going to put you on fast forward, and then I'll see how far I can get in getting this journal finished finally. The first thing that I want to do is make some tags and journaling cards out of these pieces. These were actually leftover like cutoffs from when I was creating this journal, or perhaps a different journal that I used the same printable kit with. But I had printed these on pretty thick cardstock, and so the weight of these is going to be really good for creating some tags and journaling cards. They are white on the back, but I'm going to add some coffee dyed paper to the back just to give them a little bit more interest. I would do this if I was using like a thinner cardstock or copy paper or whatever, but these are actually pretty sturdy. I'm just doing it just for the look of having the coffee dyed paper on the back, and I'm using a Yoo-Hoo glue stick just to cover the entire piece. That way it doesn't bubble or anything like that when I trim it down. And I'm going to do this on all the pieces. I'm not going to make you watch me do that, but it will end up kind of making the paper curl just a little bit. So I'm going to tuck that under my craft mat while I'm working, and we will come back to that in a little while after it's had some time to kind of dry. And the first thing that I'm going to do is add a couple of little tuck spots using these ephemera pieces. These are also from the kit. So again, this is the All Things Roses kit from the Junk Journal Studio. I will put Michelle's link to her Etsy shop down in my description. But these are a good size, but this journal, because it's like a 4 by 6 journal, it's not a huge journal. And so these little ephemera pieces are going to make great tuck spots to tuck some little tags in. And so I am using Bearly Art glue today. I like to use liquid adhesive whenever I'm creating pockets. That way I don't have to worry about using like double-sided tape where something could get stuck down in it, because it never technically dries, if that makes sense. So I'll always use a liquid adhesive when I'm creating pockets and tuck spots. And I am super excited to share with you that I have been added to the Bearly Arts design team for this session. And so I have an affiliate link for them. I also have a discount code for you if you are interested in saving 10%. All that information will be down in the description as well. I'm not trying to sound like a commercial. I just really love Bearly Arts glue. So the next thing I'm doing here, I'm just taking another couple of these ephemera pieces. Again, these would be like something that you could do on a larger scale journal, but I'm actually going to use these as little pockets. So I did create a thumb notch in this one, but I did not on the other one because I didn't want to lose the border of it. It was just too pretty. So the same deal here. I'm just going to glue these down on 3 sides. So this will actually be a pocket versus it being a tuck spot. And then I thought I was going to glue it on that coffee dyed paper and ended up gluing it over here on this pattern paper. I just liked the contrast there. And I am trying to still leave myself plenty of room, that there is a lot of writing space in this journal. So there will be, journaling cards and tags and tuck spots and those kinds of things, so that this can be a good journal for writing. That's always important to me whenever I am creating a journal. So the next thing, I'm kind of jumping around here, is I want to add some trim, and I have this beautiful kind of pale pink trim that looks just like leaves, like a vine, and I thought it would be really pretty in this journal. So that's the first thing that I'm going to do here, and you will see I'm just going to use that same liquid adhesive, that same Bearly Arts glue here. You could certainly use something else, but I find that this works just as well. So I just ran a little bead of glue down that piece, and I love it because it's got that little, precision tip on it, so I can get right on even the finest part of this little trim. And then I'm just going to go and add a little bit of glue under each of the leaves just to make sure that it stays stuck down really well. I had to trim off a little bit of the excess there where I didn't cut it very well. And then whenever I'm doing this, because this is a 2 signature journal, and so whatever I'm doing in one signature, I kind of want to do in the other signature as well. So I'm going to do this same process with this same trim here in this second signature. And I like doing this on the coffee dyed paper because it really just kind of gives a little bit more interest to the coffee dyed paper, and then still leaves that open that you can, do a lot of writing or journaling, memory keeping, scripture writing, whatever you want to do. It will just still leave plenty of space to do that in this journal. Again, just going behind each one of the little leaves and adding some glue and trimming off the little bit of excess there. And then I'm going to go through and add some other trims and lace. So I have this one that's kind of a finer, more dainty lace than some of the other ones that I'm doing. So I'm purposefully putting this on the pages that are white so that you can see the design of this beautiful lace. I just went ahead and still, again, used my Bearly Arts glue. I ran a bead down, and then I just kind of smoothed it out for this particular one because it's so thin, and it will dry, so I don't have to worry about it dries clear. So I can do this way. I just didn't want to have like a bunch of glue kind of seeping through all the little sections of this lace. And then I added another little bead right along that one edge once I got kind of everything stuck down where I wanted to, and then trim off the excess there as well. And now I want to add some of these kind of more crocheted type trims. These are Hobby Lobby, I believe, and just doing the same thing, adding the trim or adding the glue just down at the edge of this. And then whatever I'm doing to the one signature, I want to do to the other signature as well. Again, just to create the same sort of balance, and the repeating elements, it just always makes your journals more cohesive when you do that. So if I'm doing it into the first signature, I want to try to do it into the second signature as well. Also do that same thing with my pockets. I want to make sure that if I kind of have a similar number of pockets in the first signature as I do in the second signature. Maybe not everybody does that, but in my brain, that just makes the most sense to try to keep everything nice and balanced. And then I'm moving on to this little bit of smaller trim here. Again, it's just kind of crocheted as well, just trying to find the places that I would like that the most. And so I made sure to do that in both signatures as well. So I had this piece, this is again from the Junk Journal Studio, the beautiful ephemera pieces, and it has this beautiful lady, and I want to just add her to the front, this first page of the signature, because she's just very much like a focal image here. So I'm just adding some glue. I did add a little bit of distress ink around the outside. I'm actually using archival ink in ground espresso to do all of my distressing. And then I added one of the little sentiments as well, that says the beauty of a rose just underneath her, and that's just kind of be the little intro page. And so now my papers have dried well enough that I can work with them. You can see they're not as curled now. And so what I'm going to do is turn these first couple into tags. So I have this little punch from We're Memory Keepers, and it makes really great tags. I use this a lot. And then you can kind of see that coffee dyed paper on the back side. I'm going to use a little bit of this lace that I had trimmed off, and I'm going to staple this at the top just as a little tag topper. I like repeating those kind of elements in that way as well. And I thought I would add something to that. In the end, I really just like how it looked kind of plain. And so I'm just tucking that into this little pocket that I had in the journal already that was made from some embossed paper. And then I'm going to do the same thing with this other piece here. Although it has some decoration in the background because it was from pattern paper, I am going to add a focal image here. This is just another one of those beautiful ladies, and a little sentiment that says delicate rose, I think. Yes, and I'm just going to glue those down. I did glue this down without distressing it, and then I had to pull it back up really quickly. Fortunately, it hadn't dried yet, but because Barely Arts glue does dry pretty quickly, but I did manage to pull that up without damaging anything. So I was able to distress it and then glue it back down. So then I'm just going to add this little word kind of up there at the top. I'm not going to add a topper to this tag at this time. I may down the road, but for right now, I'm just going to tuck this into this pocket. And now with this one, I actually want to make this into a journaling card. So I've pulled in this beautiful French rag paper. This is 1800s paper, and it's beautiful and I love it. And I want to just add a little section down here at the bottom, mostly because there's like a little bit of blue down here that I just like bluish green that I kind of doesn't go with the rest of the journal as much. So I kind of want to cover most of that up. And so I'm just using that same glue stick and covering the entire back of this so that it sticks down really nice. And then I left a little overhang so that I could tuck it around to the back just for some added interest. And then I'm going to go through and round all my corners. This is another We Are Memory Keepers punch, just to round the corners. And then I will distress that as well and use one of these beautiful kind of frames again as a focal point on this. I'm not going to add much else because there's a lot going on in the background, and I don't want to cover up too much of that paper, so I'm going to kind of put this high up on the card, mostly so that you can still see all that beautiful French paper down at the bottom. And then this is just going to tuck into one of the belly bands that's already in the journal. So that's all I'm going to do for today. I'm just going to kind of show you what this looks like, where we're at for right now. Let me know in the comments if you would like to see me continue on in making some other pieces of ephemera and things for this journal. I know this was not a start to finish journal. I was just kind of working on it and thought I'd bring you along for the ride. But let me know if you'd like to see me continue working on it. Otherwise, I'll just do it off camera and eventually it will show up in my website, which will be linked down in the description as well. But you can kind of see how we have all the trims and the beautiful lace and everything, and how it just is giving this. And I love the way the edge of this journal looks with all of the different crocheted laces. So if you like this video, I would appreciate it if you gave it a thumbs up. Subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. And until next time, bye.